Good evening. This is Maestro Cortello with a Dawn of War 2 Retribution Elite Modcast. Today we have a 2v2 on Golgotha Depths. Our first player today is Haidran, right here, playing as the Eldar Farseer. This is an Uthway DLC Farseer. The Farseer is an Eldar support hero. She focuses a lot on casting spells, many of which will buff or debuff units. She also has some spells that can be used for control. His teammate is DX Razor, playing as the Chaos Lord. The Chaos Lord is a tanky melee hero walking around in Terminator armor. He starts out with a big power sword as well as a combi bolter. He can be upgraded to get a combi flamer or a blood maul or some power claws. Can do both range damage or a lot of melee damage, although actually not quite at the same time. Usually you choose one or the other. On the other team, we got Dr. I cure you with my Kukri. I always used to pronounce that as, like, Krukri or something, but obviously it doesn't look like that. Tough word to say. He is playing as the Grey Knight Bro Captain. We got the leader of the Grey Knights walking around in Terminator armor and with a big, sizzling force sword. He can also get a variety of weapons, a hammer, a halberd, a staff, another sword. And he also has some great abilities like the Canticle of Absolution and maybe the Nemesis Vortex. And his teammate is Vred Tiger Mode. I'll just say Tiger Mode, like Charlie Sheen, Tiger Blood. Apothecary now getting in the building along with his Tactical Marines. The Apothecary is a healing commander. He is really a pretty average fighter, but you get most of your utility out of him by healing units like Tactical Marines and Assault Space Marines. Right here we got a Tactical Marine squad getting very, very close to death. That was a very close call. I almost wonder if Haidran already had like a quick Doombringer or something. That might have been a dead Tactical Marine right there with him chasing down that Tactical Marine with force with the Farseer. Alright, so we got DX Razor in the middle. Razor going for a pretty typical Chaos build. He's got double Chaos Space Marines and 2 Heretics, particularly with the Chaos Lord. Heretic worship. Definitely at one point someone said that Heretic Khorne worship is the best kind of Heretic worship because it allows you to basically be very aggressive. Speed in general is something that is very, very powerful in Dawn of War 2. I remember back when the Painboy was first implemented, or certainly around the time when he was first implemented, it was said that the speed upgrade is the best for him because it means more map control, better retreat kill potential, getting your units back on the field faster. So speed is just very, very valuable in Dawn of War 2. I'm actually surprised right here that these Heretics did not take that much range fire on approach. We're actually able to get in and then actually suppress most of these squads. That being said, they're not going to be able to last too long. It's nice to get off another Doom Blast, but I think after that second Doom Blast, they needed to pretty much go. A little too risky to keep them on past that second Doom Blast. Chaos Space Marines right here. Although Chaos Space Marines are traditionally the best ranged unit in melee, I think the Strike Squad might kind of have them beat there. And I don't know what the melee, I don't remember what the melee damage is exactly for the Strike Squad, but definitely with their special attacks, they kind of win over the Chaos Space Marines. Even though otherwise, Chaos Space Marines force meleeing any other ranged unit is usually a win for them. We got Haidran coming over here to double. I wonder if they can even take out this Bro Captain in retreat. I wouldn't be entirely surprised, especially if we see a guide. A guide actually looks like it's active right now. It's going to be a very close call. I guess they didn't want to try running in the middle of these boxes, but I think they might have been able to get it. But we got Guide. Guide is the starting ability for the Farseer. It is a damage buff to whatever unit you put it on. I believe it's a 30% damage buff. It's not a 40% damage buff. I'm embarrassed to say that I don't know. There was definitely a time when I did know, but not as good with numbers these days. I used to be such a number person. We have Howling Banshees upgraded with the aspect of strength. That gives them 30% health increase, a War Shout, and Fleet of Foot, and come Tier 2, their Exarch will have an Executioner Spear to do heavy melee instead of power melee. We also have the Farseer with the Doombringer. That's a very, very common war gear for the Farseer. If anything, I would say it might be the most common weapon upgrade for the Farseer. Combined with Guide, it can be really, really ridiculous. Since Guide increases the damage that a squad does, Doom increases the damage that an enemy squad receives. Right here, Banshees at this point getting a little overextended. We don't really have much of a true melee counter such as shotgun scouts, but they are definitely overstaying their welcome, and that is risky. I think that Farseer special attack probably helped them out a little bit, but I think we also saw the Apothecary with the Purification Rites. That actually will help out as a melee counter, since it will do weapon knockback around whatever squad that gets healed. Particularly useful in combination with Assault Space Marines whenever they jump whenever they jump forward and then get counter-initiated against by something like Heretics or Banshees. It's a counter initiation with the Apothecary heal. Alright, meanwhile down here, we've got a lot of area of effect damage coming out of the Doctor. He's got, I believe, yes, double grenade launcher stormtroopers. These things travel pretty quickly, do a lot of damage do a lot of area of effect damage, so especially good against squishy squads. We also have a purgation squad as well, so definitely a lot of ranged firepower coming out of Dr. I Cure You with my Kukri, or we'll just call him the Doctor. That being said, once he does get the grenade launchers, his ability to focus down the Chaos Lord actually goes down slightly. Since these grenades, we actually saw a bunch of those grenades just entirely miss the Chaos Lord because he was just moving too fast. So when they give up the las guns, they are giving up some power to focus down the Chaos Lord, which is a very real trade-off, since Chaos and, well, basically the Chaos Lord relies very much on the pressure he exerts by being able to be aggressive, charge forward, force units back, and generally the quicker he gets focused down, the worse that is for the Chaos Lord. Red has been, it's been feeling like to me that Red has been pretty dominant. This Havoc Needs to Go lost 2 models. Heretics actually managed to get in, but there they have been slowed by the Purgation Squad. The Purgation now have the ability to not only suppress, but they have some kind of snare that allows them to actually slow down a squad in place. So Razor is doubled again. We see Tiger Mode and the Doctor, well, mostly Tiger Mode, actually pushing forward, maybe going to get a bit of a Gen Bash off. He does have a Flamer attack squad. He's probably going to try, maybe he'll even try to distract and fight a bit with the rest of his units while he tries to burn down some generators, but he's actually not going to get that many. His Apothecary gets forced off early. His Assault Marines are now in a very bad position and may want to retreat. Assault Marines do come in and kind of save them. And actually, this is actually turning out to be in favor of Tiger Blood. And he keeps this flame attack on the field, but with only 1 model. So he can still potentially do some generator bashing, but I think we did see a malignant blindness. So this Tactical Marine can't even see, and now he's going to get hit by the Chaos Lord, and he just needs to run away. Meanwhile, over here, Haidran looks like he's having a few close calls, getting his Banshees nearly dead again. We've also got Tier 2 for Razor. He did go for a pretty light build. He went for... he's got... Now, this is very interesting. The maximum health of the Heretics is actually going up as the models are being reinforced. That is very interesting. But anyway, Razor did go for a fairly light build. It's a pretty common Chaos build, but it's one of the reasons that's good is that it's fairly light. Although he did invest in Aspiring Champions on both of his Heretic squads, so that's his main power expenditure, but he didn't get... and then he also had the Havoc, so that was his power expenditures. And he was able to get to Tier 2 first, getting out a Plague Marine squad, which is I feel like not really a great choice as a blind purchase, because this is a squad that doesn't really do a whole lot against infantry. It's not completely useless, but it's definitely not great. I would say it's not even good against infantry. It can still hurt infantry, but it's really not even good. And it's mostly just a preemptive vehicle counter, but it's not even that strong of a vehicle counter. So I feel like Plague Marines are definitely a very situational upgrade, and I generally don't think it's a good choice to just get them blindly as your first Tier 2 purchase when you don't even know what your opponent is going to get. Meanwhile, we do have a Guardian weapon team in the building right here, but getting flamed out, and Haidran reacting a little slowly, finally gets his Guardian weapon team out of there, and it would have been a dangerous position with his Guardian weapon team getting out of there right in front of Tactical Marines, so Haidran did definitely make the smart move by approaching with his Banshees and his Farseer. Meanwhile, it's always seemed to me like Red has had the map. That being said, the VPs are even, or roughly even. Red does have a slight lead. And we're actually still having a lot of purchases coming out of the blue team. We got a Wraithlord coming out for Haidran. We got Bloodletters for DX Razor on top of his original Plague Marine purchase. The Doctor does have his Grey Knight Dreadnought, approaching all of this stuff right here. I think approaching a little foolhardily, going after Plague Marines by itself. Even though Plague Marines not really quite enough to finish a vehicle by itself in most cases, we definitely don't want the Grey Knight Dreadnought to be completely isolated from the rest of its army. It does look like, however, that the Red team has had the better end of controlling the contested power nodes. So Razor now is a pretty big army. Important to note about Razor's army, though, is that he really does not have strong AV. So he needs to be very careful with that because his AV really isn't that strong. And now we have a very tough vehicle coming out of the Doctor, as well as yet another vehicle coming out of Tiger Mode. The Doctor and Tiger Mode kind of fighting as one right now. They're all together while Razor and Haidran are approaching from two different sides. I actually feel like I don't see this going well for Haidran and Razor, but maybe they will prove me wrong. The Wraithlord is getting some hits in. Bro Captain in a bit of trouble. He does have the Force Halberd, and we also have Heretics about to be wiped, but Razor realizes it and does retreat. We also have some Bloodletters in here, very smartly phasing out into the warp. Good idea, and he's even got his Worshipping Heretics right here. Even with two monos, it's good to keep those out on the field, but he needs to make sure, yeah, this Strike Squad right here does get suppressed. At this point, I think he's actually going to want to move back the Heretic. He might still want to try to keep it out on the field, but he needs to move it back or it probably will get wiped. He actually just decides to retreat. Oh no, and the Havoc actually desets up. Otherwise, he would have been able to suppress these Assault Marines immediately on landing, but the Assault Marines are still in a huge amount of trouble, losing all of their models except for the Sergeant. Even the Wraithlord getting a word in. Now the Wraithlord has a Bright Lance, which is actually going to be very, very powerful. Meanwhile, the Plague Marines have been tied up, so it's mainly the Wraithlord going after these vehicles. The Wraithlord actually now in a little bit of trouble, but so is this Grey Knight Dreadnought. So are these Bloodletters, and they get out of here, but that is the end of the Grey Knight Dreadnought. One more Bright Lance shot, and that is it. The Razorback itself potentially in trouble. Razorback is in a terrible amount of trouble and will most likely go down. It's only going to take, let's see, one more shot, rear armor hit. One more shot should be it. Nope. It's going to be yet another one more shot, but that will definitely be it, and the Razorback is not going to be able to get out of there. That Wraithlord Bright Lance, considered a very, very powerful upgrade these days, and is particularly good, it is said, for nullifying transport plays. Said to be very, very effective against transports. So Tiger Mode now not looking so strong. Lost his Razorback. I wonder if did he have another unit? I actually wonder. Meanwhile, Razor he still has his Plague Marines, lost two models, but he lost his Bloodletters. So Haidran and Razor definitely came out on top of that engagement. Haidran, however, just lost his Farseer, wandering over here alone against all of Tiger Mode's stuff. Now Tiger Mode deciding just to take back that generator. This is actually a map where it's very, very nice to have some kind of Flamer unit, whether it's a Flamer Attack, Purgation Squad, Noise Marines, because you really, really want to be able to control those contested power nodes. If not take control of them, then destroy your opponent's power nodes. Power generators. Plague Marines in a huge amount of trouble right here and will most likely go down. Apothecary will most likely go down as well, but I think the Assault Marines will be able to finish this Plague Marine squad, and in fact they do. Assault Marines very smartly jumping out. Actually, oh, I was going to say they got out with 4 of their models, but one of them died on landing. You know, we got the gibbed remains of many different things right here. So Razor actually now not looking so strong. Also lost a Heretic squad. Now he's taking losses. And that's going to help put the red team back in the game. Chaos Lord right here. Still trooping around with no upgrades. I mean, the Chaos Lord is very, very strong, but I do feel like at this point in the game, you should get something on him since he really does like, so much more if you actually get some kind of upgrade. Let the Galaxy Burn could definitely be useful, really, against... Well, definitely against the Inquisitorial Stormtroopers. It could be very, very powerful against them, so he could get that. He could even get the Combi Flamer, and that would still be way better than being in his vanilla form. Although usually at this point in Tier 2, if you haven't gotten the Combi Flamer in Tier 1, usually you're not going to get it in Tier 2, and you're going to get save for a different weapon upgrade instead. So he could definitely also get the Lightning Claws or the Blood Maul. Either one, really. Lightning Claws, of course, doing power melee, so it would be more valuable against the many of the heavy infantry squads of the Grey Knights. It's actually not looking so good for the Tactical Marines. The Rangers almost walked right into that grenade. But this Bright Lance Wraithlord doing very, very well. Now at level 2. Wonder if they can take out any more Assault Marine models. One does go down from that last sword swing. And VP is now actually pretty comfortably in the blue team's lead. 329 to 183. We have a 1-to-1 cap. And the red team strangely not capturing in the middle. This Chaos Lord, as I said, still unupgraded. Like here, this is like a very, very good opportunity. Let the Galaxy Burn right there would be absolutely devastating to these Stormtroopers. Let the Galaxy Burn, or Armor the Inferno technically, as well as Lightning Claws right now would be very, very powerful for DX Razor. And he's floating massively. My guess is that he wants to save for like a Great Unclean One or a Land Raider Phobos. He's got a massive amount of requisition. I mean, even if you wanted to get that Land Raider Phobos, he also could have been producing like a Chaos Space Marine squad. I mean, he's only got one. He could put down another Heretic squad, to be honest. Heretic squad would actually help out a lot for a second Heretic would help out a lot for the repair support to give to this Land Raider Phobos. It would also help him Razor out with Heretic Worship. He really hasn't been using Heretic Worship that much since he lost his other Heretic squad, because it means he's only had one Heretic on the field at any given time. He's been using it for fighting, and it's also been dying a lot. We now have an Angels of Death from Tiger Mode, reducing the damage that all of his squads are taking, but I still feel like he's overwhelmed. Now, this is really significant because, of course, in retail, Angels of Death gave you invulnerability. So that was really different, and that did a lot more to turn a losing engagement into a winning one. In this case, Tiger Mode is still, I feel, losing this engagement. Wow, and that was actually really, I actually feel that was really, really lucky for Haidran. The sync kill on the Wraithlord pretty much saved the Wraithlord from dying from that Devastator las cannon shot. Because that las cannon would have definitely finished off the Wraithlord if it was not doing that sync kill. You do get a damage, there's a damage reduction when the Wraithlord is doing a sync kill, but instead we have the Apothecary about to take it out. I think one more plasma pistol shot or one more axe hit, and he actually finishes off the Wraithlord with the Apothecary. That's probably the most awesome play from the Apothecary that I've ever seen, taking out a Wraithlord. So very, very smart by Tiger Mode, and that's where I try to keep top. That's when I always say that power melee is not completely useless against vehicles. Normally, most people would think the Apothecary is not anti-vehicle, so he can't kill the vehicle. And period. Then they would actually just give up that play right there, and they would not chase down the Wraithlord with their Apothecary. But that Wraithlord only had 45 health left. He was chasing it down with the Apothecary, who had a power melee axe, and he was actually able to finish off the Wraithlord. That plasma pistol as well. 20% of the plasma pistol damage was actually doing damage to the Wraithlord, and he was able to finish off that Wraithlord. And those are a lot of the little details that I personally like to know. Like, I like to know that 10% of the damage that my Tzeentch Chaos Space Marines can do will actually hit vehicles, so that if I have a vehicle at like 50 health, I can actually finish it off with Tzeentch Chaos Space Marines. Or in this case, an Apothecary with the Anointed Power Axe. So I like having that kind of knowledge about the game. Meanwhile, Land Raider Phobos has been backing off, and he actually did take my advice, and he got a second Chaos Space Marine squad. Meanwhile, the first one has been upgraded with the Mark of Tzeentch, probably has had that for a while. Second Chaos Space Marine actually just getting the Aspiring Champion right now. He does have the resources to get an upgrade at this point. He definitely should get a Mark upgrade on his Chaos Space Marines. We've got 2 Power Armor races, and it's late in the game, so he could use the damage boost. Whether he wants to get Mark of Khorne or Mark of Tzeentch, he should get that upgrade, unless he's saving up for something else. For all I know, he could be saving up for a Predator, which he's actually pretty close to getting. And that actually would probably be more valuable to get as his first purchase, or at least before the Tzeentch upgrade. Now we have a fully infiltrated Eldar army. Oh my god, this combination is very powerful, but now he needs to move in. What is he doing? Oh, I see. He's going after the Paladins to save the Land Raider Phobos. We need the Dirge Caster right now. That would actually screw these Paladins, stun them. So I don't know. Yeah, the Dirge Caster wasn't used. He needed to use that. That would have been absolutely horrible for the Paladins because they would have been stunned. As it is, the Paladins are still in a huge amount of trouble. But if they get out of there alive, that missed Dirge Caster would have been what prevented them from living. I mean, or would have prevented them from dying. That being said, it looks like they're still going to die, and Paladins are done. And there go the Paladins, courtesy of the combination of the Seer Council as well as the Howling Banshees. Now, Haidran right here, his Farseer is dead on the ground. I was going to say, though, if he doesn't already have it, he might want to get the Spirit Stones for this combination of leveled... do we have... leveled Howling Banshees. Level 4 Howling Banshees and the Seer Council. Combining level 4 Howling Banshees, Seer Council, and a Farseer with Spirit Stones, Doom, and Guide. Well, he wouldn't be able to cast all of them at once, but at least the Spirit Stones would be incredibly devastating as a melee blob. Certainly, probably one of the most threatening melee blobs that you could get in this game. Level 4 Howling Banshees, Seer Council, and a Farseer with some combination of Spirit Stones, Guide, and Doom. I think he's mainly going to be using... well, actually, he's got 255 energy, so he doesn't have... He's got the Rune Armor, which means he has extra energy, which means he can actually use all 3 spells at once. He can use Guide, Doom, and Spirit Stones. So that would be stupid. It's way too good. Alright, but we got a strike squad with a Psy Cannon. A level 3 strike squad with a Psy Cannon. Level 4 Purgation squad with a trio of Psy Cannons. And Razor has actually been sitting on resources. He's sitting on a lot of resources, and now he's just straight up floating. He's got a level 7 vanilla Chaos Lord. Now is absolutely the time to put War Gear on that guy. He can't even buy a Predator because he doesn't have the population to do it. But he should absolutely put War Gear on this Chaos Lord. This Chaos Lord is actually really underperforming relative to his potential. Even though he's level 7, he's still really underperforming relative to his potential if he does not have any warriors. And, I mean, the blue team has been winning, but now they're getting pushed back. And, again, Razor floating all these resources could fully kit out his Chaos Lord. He's got nothing. Haidran, meanwhile, he does, in fact, have the Spirit Stones along with the Doombringer. So that is a really powerful... that could potentially be really powerful. The only problem right now is that his Seer Council and his Banshees are completely separated. We have an Eldritch Storm actually wiping out a bunch of the Doctor's stuff. Oh my god, he just got hit really, really hard. He lost a Stormtrooper squad. He lost his Strike squad. And now we have this Fire Prism in a lot of trouble. We have a Land Raider Crusader call in. Actually think that is a little bit of a risky purchase We do, of course, have the Phobos right here. The Crusader, although much more tough than the Phobos, is not going to have much outgoing damage toward the Phobos unless it chooses to get very close with its multi-melta. But then we've got double twin-link las cannons from the Land Raider Phobos. Although the Land Raider Phobos certainly needs to be careful as well. Needs to kite the Land Raider Crusader so that it doesn't get hit by the multi-melta. But now it's actually taking shots with those las cannons. And the Farseer goes down again. I think taking on a little more than she can handle with these now ranged Terminators, as well as these Vanguard Veterans. The positioning of this Land Raider Crusade, or this Land Raider Phobos, is not so great, and now the VPs are completely even when Haidran and Razor had such a huge lead, and somehow this is still happening, despite the fact that they have huge armies. Razor actually cleared up some population so that he could get Terminators out on the field. He's got Lightning Claw Terminators, probably to help him deal with Terminators coming out of either the Doctor or Tiger mode, but what he still has his completely unupgraded Chaos Lord. What is he doing with that Chaos Lord? And they're actually losing the VPs, and like, I don't entirely know why. Alright, Fire Prism now healed up. Haidran needs to get on out there. I think, well, now he doesn't have his Farseer, but otherwise I was going to say he should keep his Farseer with the Seer Council and the Howling Banshees. That's just so powerful, having both of those squads. That's really, really going to hurt, especially something like these Terminators right here. Meanwhile, I think this Guardian Weapon team is going to go down. Yes, it is. I was trying to upgrade to a Bright Lance to help deal with the Land Raider Crusader. Do we have... Yes, we have an Orbital Bombardment. Oh no, this is actually really bad for the blue team right here. I don't think it'll kill any of Razor's squads, but it's going to give them field presence. Do we have another Eldritch Storm? It felt like he cast it. He did one just a little while ago. But I guess what's keeping that... I'd say he probably just had the red, and then he just had to wait for the cooldown. This Land Raider Crusader, oh no, he's going in for the kill against the Phobos, and he's not going to get it, and now he's also going to lose the Phobos. Now we need the Dirge Caster. Well, even the Dirge Caster wouldn't have saved it, but we should have had at least the Dirge Caster to save the Fire Prism. Oh no. So I'm a little disappointed by some of the things I'm seeing from Razor. Completely not upgrading his Chaos Lord at all. And Vanguard Veterans go down for Tiger mode. But now we also have the Terminators in trouble. Is there teleport not on cooldown? Is there teleport on cooldown? Either way, what we need... Yeah, we need... What we actually need is some... We definitely need the backup, the support, and yes, the Heretic Worship. And now we need a Tzeentch Chaos Space Marine Fire to absolutely unload on the Terminators. And, I mean, just think about how much more threatening this Chaos Lord would be right now if he was using that worship to charge in with Lightning Claws at level 7. I mean, if you think about it, first of all, those Lightning Claws do 100 DPS power melee. We got an extra 30% damage against heavy melee, against heavy infantry armor, which means 130 DPS. And then we have all of the modifiers that the damage increase modifiers that come from the Chaos Lord having levels, which I think is something like, I don't really even know, but either way, he's getting damage increase at every single level. That's part of what is absolutely ridiculous about the Chaos Lord, and he would be so incredibly threatening. Right now, he does not have a choice, but he needs to get a Chaos Space Marine squad on the point, white it out, or get this Chaos Lord on the point. One thing that would really, really help also is that if you had the Chaos Lord with the Demon Shield, and then he could really just straight up put the Chaos Lord on the point, he's going to lose the game. Oh my god. This is actually really painful for me right now. And now it's Haidran going in with a squad of infiltrated Rangers, when I really feel like that should have been Razor going on to capture the point to keep them in the game. Alright, so Haidran keeps them in the game, retreats his rangers because they're going to die. Oh my god. So, completely unupgraded Chaos Lord. Oh my god. And I think the Bro Captain is going to get the cap and he's going to take it. Yeah, there's nothing they can do about that. Alright, so that's the end of the game. I hope you enjoyed the cast. I gotta say, I was really frustrated with this completely unupgraded Chaos Lord at level 9. Would have gotten to level 10 even faster if he had actually gotten upgrades. And I mean, right there, what he really needed to do to stay in this game was put the Chaos Lord on the point. If he had something like the Demon Shield, that would have made it almost impossible to get him off the point. Just get the Demon Shield, and then just be on that point. Oh, very frustrating. Nevertheless, certainly a lot of action, and I hope you still enjoyed the cast. Have a good night.